Welcome to the Food Scene, an instructional web series on how to make some delicious dishes. This is episode 4, and we're going to be making chicken and water chestnut patties. So let's get right to it. Let's start by breaking down the ingredients. Quick note here before we get to the ingredients. I don't list olive oil in the ingredient breakdown, but you will need it to cook the patties. Olive oil is great, by the way. So yeah, my oil of choice when I cook things. Now, back to the food scene. Okay, so let's break down the ingredients. You're going to need chicken, of course, water chestnuts, jalapeno, cilantro, scallions, and salt. And that's really all you need, yeah. Pretty simple. All right, let's get down to actually making these things. Some other quick notes here. Obviously, always wash your hands, make sure your counters are clean, make sure before you start using any vegetables that you are washing them. I am not showing these things in the video because I feel that would be sort of monotonous. But yes, always do that. Also, for any of you who want suggested amounts for the ingredients, I will leave those amounts in the video description below. Back to the food scene. Okay, so we're going to start by breaking down the chicken. This is all going to go in the food processor anyway, but just want to make sure that it's a little easier, especially since the food processor I'm using is not great. Pretty average at best. Alright, so let's fast forward through some of this stuff here, just continuing to break down the chicken. And ideally, you want to keep a clean hand, one that's not touching the chicken. And I can't emphasize this enough. Always wash your hands anytime you're cooking, but especially when you're working with raw meat, because it's raw meat. It's actually technically poisonous, so you don't want that contaminating anything, particularly your counters or food or whatever. So here I am. It's going into the food processor, and I'm not going to show me actually processing the chicken because I lost that footage. But here it is, the chicken's all processed, and now getting it out into this bowl where we're going to incorporate the rest of the mix for the patties, but first just got to get this chicken out. There it is, all ground up. My brother, who did the camera work for all these episodes, pointed out that you could probably just buy ground chicken as well. But you know what, I went the extra mile and ground it up myself. So here it is. Chicken going into the bowl. I am really struggling to get this chicken out of the food processor. I don't know why it's taking so long. But still in this shot. Alright, moving on. Now the veggies for the mix. Getting off all the cilantro stems. Gonna go get rid of those. And here we are looking at some vegetables. I'm not in the shot. Yeah, there's all the cilantro. That's going into the food processor. And scallions are next, or green onions. It's the same thing. I just like calling them scallions because it sounds fancy. And yeah, just taking off the tops and the bottoms and setting those to the side. We're not going to use those. And then, yeah, just going to break them down a little bit, just kind of get them into chunks so it makes it easier on the food processor. If you're using a really high-end food processor, you might not even need to do that. You could just half them, cut them in half, and throw them into the food processor. So here we go. I'm just getting all my veggies, throwing them into the processor. This is the same processor that I use for the chicken, so you got to be super careful that your hand's not touching the edges or anything, that you're maintaining a clean space, clean counters, everything. All right, here's the jalapeno. So we're going to take this apart. And when I say take it apart, we're just going to slice it a little bit. I like to leave the seeds in because I like my chicken patties on the spicy side. I like them a little spicy. So no need to try and get rid of the seeds, which would be an enormous pain if you were doing this jalapenos. It's a pretty small chili. So yeah, those go in the processor, and we're going to mix all this together. Okay, so here we go, blending the veggies. I should say now that I actually screwed up and forgot to add the water chestnuts, but you'll see that in the video where I blend them in as I have an epiphany where I forgot like the most key ingredient. So don't know what was going through my mind that day. But, oh yep, there they are, water chestnuts going in. And yeah, we're gonna blend those in. Those should have gone in originally with the rest of the veggies. But there they are. So just making sure that everything's getting chopped up. Want it kind of nice and pasty. Using a spatula to scrape down the sides. Make sure it's mixing adequately. Everything's incorporating. Just as a suggested accompaniment, these patties go really well with rice, maybe some bok choy, anything like that. Alright, so here we go. Now we're going to make the actual patties themselves. So we're making a mix, as I said, incorporating the veggies with the chicken. Once again, being as careful as we can not to touch any of the sides or anything. Although I guess it doesn't matter at this point since you're going to be handling the raw chicken again. And yeah, I just want to stress again, always make sure you're washing your hands in between these jobs so to get all the chicken contaminants off your hands. In goes the salt. And now we're going to mix it together, kind of like you would do meatballs. You know, you want to make sure everything's mixed together well, but you don't want to over mix it. Don't want to overwork the meat. And yeah, here I am, just getting it all incorporated. I found that the veggie mix will kind of settle at the bottom a little bit, so you want to make sure it's mixing in with the meat well. Quick note here, LOL. Okay, so here we are, making these patties. Make sure you have them on a baking sheet, pretty large. You'll probably get, I mean, depending on how big you make them, you should probably get anywhere from 12 to 18 patties. You know, sometimes it's a little more, a little less, although I've rarely ever gotten more than 18. And you might need a second baking sheet to compensate if that's the case. But yeah, you know, just get a chunk of the mixture, kind of roll it up and then flatten it out. Sort of like sliders, you know, that's kind of the size you're going for, I think. And you know what, these could actually make great meat for sliders if you wanted to do sort of like an Asian slaw as a condiment. Maybe some brioche buns. Not a bad idea, but these also are great just independently of any of that stuff. Just on their own. So yeah, here I am. Wow, we were holding on this shot a long time. I promise I'm going to jump forward a little bit here and show you the finished patties on the tray. Because this is... Wow, this is long. Yep, here we go. Okay, so finished patties. Here's all our patties. We're going to cook them now. Now that we've got them all worked out. So let's head to the stove. Put some olive oil in the pan. And make sure we're doing that over, you know, moderate heat. Maybe slightly higher. You want it to, you want your oil to be hot, but not smoking. And here I am putting the patties into the pan. We're gonna do the patties in batches. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but I'm using two separate spatulas. One I'm using for the raw chicken, which is the one I'll use to put them into the pan initially, and then I'll use a different spatula to flip them so as to not get any cross-contamination or anything like that. It's a little extra step, but I don't know, I get a little paranoid about this stuff, and I want to make sure I'm not giving anyone salmonella. Which, I don't know why I'm laughing. Yeah, you don't want salmonella. That's really bad. But here they are, they're cooking. And now we're going to see the flip. Oh, I also forgot to mention that in total, that's probably going to take about 6 minutes. So about 3 minutes on each side. I would put a timestamp, but because it's a total amount and not individual, I don't really think it's necessary. So we're going to transfer these to a platter, and you're going to want to make sure you put some aluminum foil over that platter so the patties stay warm as you do the other batches. And I'm not going to show all the batches because I, once again, think it's a little unnecessary. But I am going to show this one crucial step is where you want to add some oil to your pan in between the batches so that your patties don't burn. But yeah, let's jump to the finished product. Here they are, the chicken patties, looking very nice. Like I said, really great with rice or a bok choy salad or a cooked bok choy, something like that. If you wanted to experiment, I mentioned the sliders earlier in the episode. And yeah, that's it, guys. Episode 4 in the books. Thanks for watching if you did. And yeah, really appreciate it. That's this episode's dish. Be on the lookout for more episodes. Like and subscribe if you want. I hope these dishes find you well at any time.